Good morning. Welcome. I'm Matt Federoff from the Vail School District, and I'd like to talk to you this morning about the open content revolution. The first question we should answer is, where's Vail? Vail, Arizona is about 20 miles south of Tucson. And what was a ranching and farming community for many years is now a bedroom community for the Tucson metro area, which has about 1 million people. Vail School District is the fastest growing school district in Arizona and has been for about 10 years. We've gone from 3 schools to 17 schools in 11 years. And in that time, all 17 of our schools have been ranked by the state of Arizona as excelling, the highest ranking available. It's been a lot of fun, and we've built and experimented and tried a lot of different things. I'm Matt Federoff, and I'm the Chief Information Officer, and I've been here since 1999. One of my favorite experiments was this one. Back in 2005, we built Empire High School, and we've said for years that Empire is the first textbook-free school in the nation. Now, we did it really as an experiment. We really had no idea that it would work. We had no other vision beyond getting rid of textbooks. And we did it because getting rid of the textbooks let us buy laptops for all the students and provide them. And so it was Arizona's first one-to-one. And we opened up and we just wanted to see if it would work. We really didn't expect what would happen. We started to get press. First, just local press. Then the EdTech press, of course, weighed in. They were very interested in the story. But then it just kept going, on and on. All 3 major networks showed up. The BBC came out. It really just took on a life of its own.
If you ever had to lug a ton of books to class back when you were in school, you're about to be very jealous. NBC's Peter Alexander now.
And what caught their imagination again and again and again wasn't the one-to-one, the laptops. That had been done before, quite a few times. What really caught the imagination of everyone was no textbooks. And that was kind of a clue as to what would come next for us. Now, ever since then, we've continued to get good press on a variety of topics, most notably this one, just last February. How we put Wi-Fi internet onto a school bus, the internet bus as we call it. And our students with laptops could continue to get work done on their way to and from school. Making the front page of the New York Times was a pretty big deal, but it's not the first time. In fact, last fall, we did it as well. This headline says it all. In a digital future, textbooks are history. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Informally here in Vail School District, we've been saying this. Textbook free in 3. That 3 years from now, we will not buy traditional textbooks, K-12, from our little kids to our big kids, and the resources and all of the other materials that traditionally go with them. Now, textbooks are a big deal, and they're in the news. It's a huge industry, and it gets a lot of attention. Here's the ads that I found for textbooks in just one magazine. There was this, textbook savings. There was this, your textbooks are solutions. And this, how one pre-K-12 district conquered its textbook management quandary. Well, here's how we conquered ours. And that's how we're going moving forward. Now, revolution's a pretty big word, and it gets overused. But having been now in education for, next year will be my 20th year, I really think in this case it's warranted. Because you can find content in almost every subject, in every delivery modality imaginable, to match any teaching style. Anything is out there that you could possibly want for any classroom. And nearly all of it is free, just for the finding. Now, this causes a great deal of confusion whenever I say it. For example, oh, you must mean this. E-texts, e-books, online textbooks, digital textbooks, books. These terms that get tossed around so readily in both the popular and the educational press. Well, no, that's not what I mean. In fact, the words book, textbook, these things actually get in the way of the conversation. They're an old metaphor, and they get people stuck. And what I've seen offered as these are not the way forward. Perhaps I mean this. California's open source textbook project got a great deal of press last year when Governor Arnold put it forward as the next great leap forward. Now, no, I don't mean this either. This is a dead end. It's a cul-de-sac. Frankly, it's a distraction from what really takes us forward into the next step and what happens with open content. Oh, so maybe you mean this. Oh, it's like your teachers. They're on Google all the time, and that's how they come up with their lesson plans. No, I don't mean that either. Here's what I mean. These terms, chunked content, bits and pieces, aggregated effort, unlimited creativity, harvesting enthusiasm, or my favorite from my boss, teachers making their own music. The superintendent, Calvin Baker, came up with that term, and I think that really says it best in a way that we did not expect when we started this project a couple years ago. All of these terms you'll hear me throw about, and I'll explain each of them in turn, really drive how Vail does open content. Now, how you do it at your district or your institution may be different, but I think the concepts will translate over. And I'd like to show them to you now. Because, like the X-Files, the content is out there. Web-delivered content, downloadable content like PDFs, handouts, things like that. Teacher-created content, a vast amount of content that your fellow professionals have created and posted up to share. And premium paid content. Yes, actually we will pay for content. We won't pay for textbooks, but we will pay for content if it's worthwhile. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like later. The content is out there. There's 4 things you have to do. You have to locate it. And that's what our teachers do, and they're already doing right now. You may not realize this, but your best teachers already are beyond textbooks. They already have moved past the book. They may use it as a resource, they may refer to it occasionally, but they've pushed it aside in favor of other things that do the job better. So your teachers locate the content. Then we have to aggregate it, sort it, and serve it. Those 4 steps: locate, aggregate, sort, and serve. If we can do these 4 steps, then open content can really take flower in our districts. Now the last step, serve it, is significant. When we say serve it, we mean this. We have to serve it out in a way that matches instructional goals, is just in time, and enables teachers to add value back. We'll look at each one of those more carefully, but remember these 3 things. However you come up with whatever distribution mechanism you create, it has to match your instructional goals, has to be just in time, just when a teacher needs it and is ready to use it, and then enable the teacher to add value back to it. Because the old rule of lesson planning, the one that I started with when I started teaching back in 1991, was this: you teach with the stuff you have, and the stuff you have determines what you teach. Meaning that whatever's in the building, that's what actually is the curriculum. Regardless of what the pinheads at the district office may say, the books, the resources, materials, handouts that are actually physically present are the curriculum. That was just as true as me when I was a new teacher. I took what was at hand, what I could beg, borrow, and steal from colleagues, what I could find myself back in the days before the internet. That was really difficult. That was the curriculum for all intents and purposes. Let's take a look and see what that actually looks like in practice. What I call the old way. So you had your stuff, your printed materials, your photocopies, your videotapes. Those of you in your 20s, that is a carousel slide projector at the bottom, just in case you don't recognize it. And the end-all and be-all for content was the book. The book was everything, which version you had. You might have different versions than your colleagues. Schools had different versions between themselves, like so, and the book was the curriculum. The classic assignment: read the chapter, answer the questions at the end of the chapter. There'll be a test on Friday. My father taught American history for many years, and as he said, you had to make the Civil War by Christmas and World War II by spring break, kind of like Sherman's march through Atlanta. Now this way, of course, which we did forever, and is still going on today in the majority of schools, even in the digital era. As we know, not very successful.